Ordinarily, you sort of want a minute's silence or something, but Paul wouldn't want that. So let's make as much noise, whooping and hollering and applauding for Paul so we can hear it, that we're all here today. Let's do it, come on. Hear that okay, big man? We're all good. Now, Paul was a real spearhead figure in this campaign to save this wonderful, wonderful bar. And let's never forget that, and the reasons why he did it. And we'll be talking about that a wee bit later on. But just to say, it's amazing you're coming here, the strength of feeling for this little bar. Because at the end of the day, there would be people outside this town who'll go, well, what's the point? It's just a bar. It's not just a bar. This is a hub of this community. This is a community. This is a centre of love in this town, and it's important to keep this, especially in days like this, okay? Now, today is going to be all about discourse. So we're going to have people up here to talk about this bar. It is about discourse. And I know how passionate everybody is about this, but let's not kind of lose our objective here. I know we're passionate about it. I know some people are maybe feeling a bit angry or frustrated about it. Let's not that spill into any comments today. Let's not steer in the way of slander. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Today is all about celebrating this place and why we're here. To keep it open and keep it going and the importance of it. And you might be thinking I'm a blow-in. I don't even live here, I'm from Belfast. But I love this bar, right? I've been evangelical about it to everybody in Belfast. Because when I first came down here, courtesy of Wild Bill over there, and the Tsar, where's me brother Nick? Where is he? Brother Nick in the corner there. And Larry Ravehart. Where's Ravehart? Where's the Tartan Terror? As soon as I got here, my first night here, what I couldn't believe was the very wide demographic of people who were here. Was our beardy here, like us, Beard Brothers, we were here. Isn't that right, sir? It's all about moisturiser, it's all about conditioner. And I met people here who were bikers, people who were circus performers, people here who were from every single walk of life. What they had in common was the unifying quality of this bar, because bars are more than just places where you go and get drunk, even though that's a great byproduct, right? And we've all done it, and it looks like we're doing it today. But let's not forget why this place is important. And I'm going to bring up the Mike Reid and Barbara Windsor of the place, who are now proud owners of this place. So please give it up for Johnny and Michelle Finch. Come up here and talk to me.
Johnny, Michelle, you.
These are two people. This isn't just a business to them either. Like last night, they were here moving tables and chairs for Cleve Dublin to come down and play. It's a very hands-on ownership here. So what I want to ask first of you both, give us a bit of background about your family and business and how you kind of got to where you are today.
It's a very rare occasion I see Michelle down when you speak. So, you're all laughing, but that's true. So, Michelle and I started off in business, in separate businesses. Actually, my wife had a bridal business and a jewellery business, and I own convenience stores and filling stations, and also do a bit of building. We now have, Michelle still has her jewellery business, sold her bridal business, and she works full time now in our business, along with our two kids. So I think a lot of you probably know Jack.
Yes.
Jack Forge here.
Yes.
Grace, who's a wee bit younger, has been here as well, but Jack spent most of his summer up here building. Yep. So we've operated now, this is our 20th year in business. And we'd really like to celebrate something this year.
So I guess the main question is, how did you come to own this bar?
Well, we actually didn't set out to buy a bar. We were buying a license, and through a few things with the person or the people that we bought it from, we ended up having to buy the whole pub, not a license. And Johnny and my dad actually came down to the Marine. My dad has a great background in building, and they come down to have a look at the actual building. And we ended up having to take the whole building. So Daddy had said, look, I'm not sure, because that building needs a lot of work. It's old. Are you sure you're doing the right thing? But sorry, I'm a bit nervous.
Sorry.
But, But through a lot of jigs and reels, we took the bar, and I hadn't actually been down the bar. Johnny had been down before me, and he said to me, "Look, by the bar, I'm the finance director, so it's all down to money." And when my first time in the bar, I will be honest, I was completely blown away. The energy, the community, it's just unbelievable. And that was just after 1 week. And I remember coming home and said to the guys earlier, I felt like a teenager again in front of my mum and dad and sitting down to tell them, we're actually going to run this bar, we're going to give it our best shot. And Daddy said to me, "You are mad. You're mad. Are you sure you are doing the right thing?" And I said, "We are doing the right thing. This bar is unbelievable. The community is amazing, and I just love it. Johnny loves it, and we're going to give it our best shot."
Here you are.
Yeah!
So I think it's fair to say, because from kind of meeting you guys and stuff, the impression I got was, this is like another love story in your life. Like, you fell in love with this place and this community.
I think you mentioned Paul Cole earlier on. Our initial encounter with Paul Cole was scary, to be truthful. I asked, Paul came with me to the first court hearing, and we're driving up, and Paul was telling me a bit of his life, and he was saying he had some problems and he decided to retire early, and he had done different things. But one of the things he said was he played an extra in film sets. I said, "That must have been brilliant." He said, "What, was it exciting?" He said, "No." He says, "The only parts I ever got asked to play were dead Vikings." So, for those of you who don't know Paul, but I'm sure you all do, he could be quite an intimidating character, both in how he spoke and how he wrote. And it was, Michelle and I catch up on a Friday night at home, because we're like ships in the night, we're a young family, we look after parents and one thing and another. Friday night we sit around and we cook a bit of dinner and we drink an odd bottle of wine. Joe actually was frequented there last weekend.
Did I? I don't remember much of it.
But on this particular Friday night, we'd read Paul's obituary to the bar, and that was kind of really a turning point for us, because we've always said this, we bought a license. Yeah. And as far as we were concerned, we had been given the accounts for this place, which weren't healthy. They were just losing money hand over fist. It was only open 3 nights a week. It did need a lot of work. So as far as we were concerned, this was another pub in another semi-rural area, which was going the way of any other pub. So we didn't have any inkling that this was going to happen, but it did.
Because times are tough. You see the statistics yourself. There's a bar closing every week here, probably more. And COVID kind of started that off. And it's tough to keep a bar open, like you know yourselves. All we do is put money behind the counter for delicious creamy pints. And that's where our obligation ends, right? That's where our responsibility ends. But to be an owner of a bar is not an easy thing. So what is it that's keeping you going through this struggle? And it is a struggle for you, so I can see it's a struggle for you. What's keeping you going through it?
It's very simple. It's what's standing around there and that right there. That's it. This is what's driving us.
Yeah!
Aren't they all beautiful? Look at this. It's gorgeous.
Can I say something? I really didn't expect to feel the emotion that I'm feeling. I am very emotional, but this is kind of blowing me away a wee bit, you know.
I know.
I've got blue roll here for you.
That's what it is. I mean, again, to thank you all for kind of showing up. Hey, how you doing, darling? How are you? I feel like I'm doing stand-up. Hey, take my wife, please. But I felt that the first time I came here. Like, I met Nick, and he said, "You ought to down and play this place." And I went back to Belfast, and I was talking to, like, David Holmes and Smuts going, like, this is like, I don't know if you ever heard of the Golden Lion in Todmorden, which is an amazing little club place. And meeting like Billy, you know what I mean? You don't walk away from that meeting forgetting about him. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look at him. We both said and meet people like Connor, right? Yeah. We all love Connor. Connor is a stalwart of this place, right? Most amazing human being you ever meet in your life, right? I was going back to Belfast going, you got to go down and play here. This is not like anywhere in the city. Like, there's nowhere in the city like this. There's no people like this in Belfast. Belfast people are all bastards, every one of them. I'm not excluding myself, by the way, right? But to come down here and feel this, and I was like, I felt it straight away, and I was really looking forward to coming and playing here because I just got the vibe of it. Right?
You feel the energy?
That's the energy, that's exactly it. Who said that? Put your hand up. There you are. There's a pile of energy back there, sir.
You feel the energy?
That's it. And so for you, you kind of got that vibe like really quickly. And this is not easy for you, I know this. So for people like me, for like lay people, like for restaurant here, why do you need to kind of purchase this license? Why do you need to purchase it?
So I'll talk about this because I know, because I've studied it inside out. So licensing laws in Northern Ireland are completely different from UK or Southern Ireland. We have two shops in Scotland, and we have off license on them, and you simply go to the council, you pay your fee, which is, it's not a lot, like it's, you know, it's maybe somewhere between £500,000. You prove that you're able to operate that, and then you open an off license, and it's as simple as that. Northern Ireland is completely different. You have to have a certain type of license. You buy a license, and that license is
It's not cheap.
no, it's not. It's not.
What happens if this doesn't work? What happens if we don't get this license? I mean, this is we have to look at this realistically. I mean, we can be kind of quite ideological about it here and going, right, we've got all these people in here. What happens if this doesn't work?
Right. So I think I needed to spell. I've looked at some of the comments that have come through. I think there's a couple of questions people have that need answered. And I am not saying anything here that you guys can't go and look at yourselves. And there's been a couple of comments made by parties who have objected, saying, "Oh, there's privacy and one thing or another." Our contract forms part of a court document, which anybody can go and pay £34 and go and read it. So anything I'm telling you now, if you don't believe me, go and look at it. There's nothing confidential here. And the bones of the deal were that we initially bought the license. The party came back at a point in their negotiations and asked us to buy the building for reasons which were only clear to them. I'm not sure why. At the time, I don't know whether they'd raise money. I suspect they probably got an inkling into the public sentiment behind it. And remember, we have owned a business in Whitehead for 13 years in the shop. But to be brutally frank with you, most of these guys out here, like Big Nor, I didn't know any of you guys until we came down here. So whilst we had a business in Whitehead, we had a business in the periphery of Whitehead without that interaction down here. I didn't even know the Marine Bar existed. So we bought that license. There's two issues here. The deal that we signed was just to buy the bar, so to buy the license and then the bar, and in the latter stages of that, all these different restrictions started to be put into it whenever the contract was about to be signed. One of those was, you're all probably aware, because the whole discussion was about the type of beer was sold at one point. Do you all remember those discussions? Right? So we were tied into those beers. We couldn't do anything about that. We've since moved from them because the people sold it to, they moved theirs. There was other conditions were put in at the 11th hour, to the point actually we were supposed to complete 1 week, and then there was a big hullabaloo outside the court and was all delayed, and eventually those two conditions were the license, which we're going to call the marine license for argument's sake, had to be transferred. They wrote into the had to be transferred to Cable Road, which is where our garage was at, and it had to be transferred within 3 years. Those are the two conditions, and we fought that at the 11th hour before they completed. And Michelle and I, again on our Friday night, sitting around the table, whenever it fought and it's gone on and causing loads of stress, I said to Michelle, "Listen, let's just get this guy out of our heads. Let's just complete on the deal. We don't intend running the bar, so why are we fighting over this?" And that's what we did. And then Paul Cole came into our lives, and then all you guys came into our lives.
Swarmed into your life by the look of it.
So, in answer to the question, I know loads of people wrote in and said, "What's the problem renewing this license?" We're not renewing the license. That license has to contractually move on, right? And we've already started that process, but we have never involved anybody, any of you guys involved in that. That's Michelle and I's fight, right? There's an objection against that too, and you can go to the court and you can see who that's from, but I'm sure you can all guess. So then, whenever this all came about and we started to see this, then Michelle and I have spent probably the best part of 6 months going backwards and forwards with our barrister saying, "Listen, how do we keep this bar going?" Because whilst the agreement was to shift the license,
People power.
People power, exactly.
it wasn't about closing the bar, right? So Michelle in one of the meetings said, "Well, can we buy another license and put it into the bar?" which is what this is about. This is about, so we've had to purchase a second license and we're trying to put it into the bar. Their barrister is telling them they can't do that. Our barrister is telling them they can do it, and that's going to be fought out in court.
Yeah.
Subsequent to that, Michelle and I bought the building at the rear here, the house, which doesn't form any part of the contract. Right? So one of the options, which is not where we want to be, is if we run out of options here, is to put the license into the bar, into the house at the back of here.
Which will affect this place
Yes.
directly.
I'm very proud of all the bits and pieces I've done in here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jack and I done this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing I think you'll need to remember is the amount of effort they've put into this bar since they've taken it over. I mean, this is not just a fly-by-night operation. It's part of their family now. You'll see them in behind the bar. Like I said, they were down here last night moving tables, moving chairs. The passion is here that matches yours. And we're going to be opening the floor a wee bit later on to kind of get comments and questions. Everything kind of has to go through me because we can't have a shouting match going on because
It's all about Joe.
that's always.
Always.
But if there's anything you kind of feel you can't say today, you want to do anonymously, Andrew Campbell, wherever he is, who did this beautiful design behind us, has done a suggestion box on the bar. There are sheets there. You can kind of write your suggestions, your comments, put in that suggestion box. You can put your name on it if you want. If you want to remain anonymous, that's okay as well. This is going to be an open forum for things, but it kind of has to go through a bit of me. How are you going to feel if this doesn't work?
Michelle and I, like, you've no idea how much time and effort and energy has gone into where we're at this moment in time. We don't want to lose this, but guys, I have to stress this is a very real. Most questions been asked of me over the last couple of weeks is it really this serious? And it is this serious. And the problem is that there's two elements to it. The licensing court will deal with licensing matters. So our new license, realistically, the judge will rule on licensing issues. So he will most probably grant the license. The problem then is that we will get a high court writ on a contractual basis, which will hold all of that up. And already what's happening is we were supposed to be in court on the 25th or 26th of June for the licensing hearing. The objector's barrister is apparently going holidays. So that can't be heard. So for those of you who understand court, that means that summer session happens, and then we're into September, and then we'll get a high court writ, and that'll push us into next year. So they're just going to kill us in time.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's the thing, we can't let that happen. We have to kind of be united front on this one and kind of push this through and make it happen. Agreed?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Johnny, Michelle, thank you very much. There's going to be sort of comments coming out if you need to come up and sort of, answer anything that anybody wants to ask you. We can do that, or we can do it through the suggestion box or whatever. But thank you very much, Johnny, Michelle, Finch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple of people up now who will be familiar to all of you, either drunk or sober. You've met them when you've been both, not talking about them. You've met them when you've been both. Can I get Jackie Logan, Sarah Cole, and if her mum wants to come up as well, and Jenny Moody, and Yang, can you all come to the stage, please?
Yang. Michael. Come on, Michael. Michael.
What's that?
I will. Okay. I'm going to give a trigger warning. Is that what it's called these days? Because if you're not named in this, you might be offended. If you are named in it, you also might be offended. So that's my trigger warning. Well, I'm Jackie Logan, and my involvement with the Marine Bar started in the 1980s, way back then. Even then, I knew how to drink a pint, but it was behind that bar that I pulled my first pint. And it was the one and only Barney Devine who taught me.
Yeah! Barney!
I worked here. Is it okay? Right. I worked here off and on in the 80s, but it was in the 90s that I was sent from the mothership. That's what I'm going to call it. And I was sent from there to run the Marine Bar. Now, a certain gentleman may disagree with that statement. In the words of Paul Cole, and I quote, "The force of nature that was Jackie Logan didn't so much run the Marine Bar as hold court."
Yeah!
No shit, Sherlock.
That amused me no end, Paul. And of course it was entirely true. But I like to check things. So yesterday, just to be sure, I looked up the definition of to hold court. To be the centre of attention amidst a crowd of one's admirers. Well, Paul, I began to wonder if that was actually a compliment or not. Paul could be quite ironic. No matter, because people didn't come through the door of the Marine Bar for me. They came through that door because it was the Marine Bar. And there was always a loyal core of customers who were Marine through and through. The Marinites. I know I'm going to drop that because that sounds like a backing group. Well, I've got two girls here. Shoo up, shoo up.
3.
Okay, but that core brought the heart and soul and atmosphere to this place. Okay, sometimes with a little bit of help from me, but whatever, In those days, and I say this with the greatest love, we were a wee huckster of a place, weren't we? Yes, I mean we were, But it was our wee huckster. Open only on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and a Tuesday was added later. And in those small hours, folks, friendships were formed. Lifelong friendships were formed. Many a romance began. I can see you all here, and let me tell you, many a romance failed, but that's up.
Where is she?
But in the spirit of St. Valentine's weekend, I was speaking to Judith McCulloch the other day in the chemist shop where I have to go to get my pills these days. She and James met in here 45 years ago. And they're still married today. And then again, in the 90s, we hosted a wedding, customers. And customers pitched in, organised, decorated, bedecked, arranged flowers, produced a hot and cold buffet. It's amazing what can be done on a 2-ring electric hob. But not when we had Kathy Cole's wonderful 2-handled pots to bring. And of course we had Kathy.
Yeah!
There we go. That wedding was exactly 30 years ago. On the 25th of September. A good excuse for an anniversary party this year in the Marine Bar. Tommy and Honor Bailey.
Yeah!
For the very few hours we were open, the Marine was always busy in the community. Darts teams playing in the Larn League, cribbage, And let me tell you about cribbage, because the St. Vicious Memorial Trophy, named by Donald Ross, was revived as part of Whitehead Festival. We were always in the raft race during festival too. I eventually persuaded the powers that be.
The mothership.
The mothership?
That we should be also open on a Saturday, the closest to St. Patrick's Day that we could. As usual, the Marine Volunteer Force made and brought stew, and the hob and Kathy's pots were borrowed again. Tommy Bailey built us a wishing well which sat at the front door, and very few people got past Onra, dressed as a leprechaun, without contributing to the chosen charity. Well, do it tonight for me if you don't mind. Okay. Murray McDowell would come up from Larne, and the boys would sit at the fire playing traditional Irish music. And I'll talk about music in a minute. Of the many events, perhaps the pièce de résistance was the garden party in a bar with no garden. When the posters went up, no one could believe it. But we'd formed our own garden rescue team before they even thought about it on television. And out we went into the overgrown and rubble-strewn backyard. It was transformed, and I think half of Paul and Kathy's garden, flowering pots and tubs were transported here. You were always kept busy, Kathy. Curiosity brought in a big crowd, many suitably dressed, and I remember a fair few fur coats. Selena and Marjorie come to mind about that. I can't remember why we did it, except that the Marine Bar liked a challenge and had the spirit to do it. Hold on to that thought, folks. The Marine Bar liked a challenge and had the spirit to do it. Now to music. We held sounds of the 60s and 70s nights and all the rest of it. We had a wee tape deck and a CD player with that. We weren't allowed because music was not allowed in the Marine Bar or in any bar. Boo hiss. But let me tell you why. Back in the 1960s...
I will indeed.
Back in those days, and I'm sure a lot of you will remember, do you remember the posters in the White Cliff and all over the place? No singing allowed. You must remember it. You're about to hear it. No, actually you weren't, Albert. Okay. That was just, you can understand it. It was to stop party songs then and any fights breaking out. It didn't stop Seamus Stewart Sr. belting out Galway Bay of a Saturday evening and getting barred again by Mrs. Conlon. It was Brian Teague who eventually took those posters down, but before that it was the rule: no singing and certainly no music. And then here in the Marine, later in the 80s, when Kathleen Devine was running the bar, and I was working with her, one young man got brave. It might surprise you all who it was. I don't think you could name it. It was Gerard Mulvenna. One of our own, a regular when he was home from sea. He came in one night with his guitar, sat over there at the fire and started to play. He was told in no uncertain terms to shut up and stop. The next weekend he braved it again. Now, as the late Queen Elizabeth has said, recollections may vary, but this is mine. The guitar was pulled out of his hands, and may or may not have been flung across the car park. There was no apartment block there then, but it really was. I did try to speak to Ger about his recollections of this, but he didn't contact me.
I've got the full details, Jackie.
Have you? Oh,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear it. I really would love to hear
I'll
it.
talk
Okay.
to you later.
Yes. In the 90s, when I was appointed to hold court here, Mary McDowell from Larne arrived through the evening. Music started. I was terrified because we had no entertainment license. We aren't allowed to do it. I had no money to pay him, but Honor Bailey went round with the pint glass, collected money from everybody to pay him well. I was a pushover compared to all of that. Anyway, it all came to where we did eventually allow music coming in here. And I'm going to finish now. Just take that away. I just want to say that throughout my time, I never felt that I was just the manager, the staff were just staff, or indeed customers were just customers. I always felt that we were all custodians of a very special place.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And for me personally, the Marine Bar is a place of memories. Every corner in this bar is the home of my memories. When I come in, and of course not much these days, I'm getting old, I do see people I know and maybe more that I don't. But you see, over there in Spinster's corner, I see big Bill McAlpine and Donald Ross playing cribbage by the fire. I see Simon there's Eileen Lockhart, my goodness me.
Eileen!
Where's her finishing off her cryptic crossword and spitting fury when John Frack comes through the door and says, "Good evening, Miss Badeau." I see Simon Cameron up here in the darts room throwing darts, and Pip Quaid and Winky Heddles in the back bar. As a friend suggested to me, if you remember the back bar in those days, you weren't there. I'll say no more about that. And I see and hear Paul Cole playing music over there and over there and over there and here. So, I've made my memories here, as many of us have, in 25 years' time, remembering the great times you had in the Marine Bar.
Here, More!
Custodians! So I want each of you to take a microphone, please. And basically this kind of exercise here is, like I was saying, there'll be people who'll sort of say, well, it's just a bar, right? I never believe it's just a bar.
It's more than a bar.
And when you see the kind of strength of feeling here today, so I want to go around each of you. What is so special about the Marine Bar? Grab the mic there, you right?
I just recollect a couple of things first before I talk about the Marine. But it's very interesting, the first speaker there was Jackie, because Jackie also worked in a pub called the Mill Bay Inn in 𝙁𝙪𝙗.
Yeah!
And I'm a very proud 𝙁𝙪𝙗 man. Bean eaters.
Why are you called bean eaters?
We grew beans for the Larnians during the war.
Oh, yeah!
Because they didn't know how to grow their own beans.
I'm gonna send them to war.
But the point I want to make, there's no longer the Mill Bay Inn in 𝙁𝙪𝙗. And I met my current wife, who's our lady there, under rather controversial circumstances.
Let's leave it at that.
Yes, 25 years ago, 6 years ago. Sorry, I'm going to take this off.
You notably said
sorry,
current wife as well.
Claudia's hating me wearing this hat, but I thought I was coming to a Cuban revolutionary get together. But anyway.
Chicken Farrell!
No, so I'm going to swing right through to now, and an interesting fact here before we talk about the Marine as well. I spend a lot of time in Ballycastle. I've actually met you in Ballycastle.
What were you doing?
Ballycastle is barely twice the population of Whitehead. It has 10 pubs and 2 licensed hotels. So what the problem is with Whitehead having 2 pubs, I've no idea.
Exactly.
And I like both the pubs, and I like going to both of them. They're fantastic. But they're 2 different offerings, and what an offering this is. Because this is more than a pub. And that's why I related the story about Jackie working in the Mill Bay Inn in 𝙁𝙪𝙗. Take P out of pub, put H and you got hub. And that's what this is. And that's what the Mill Bay Inn was in 𝙁𝙪𝙗. On this day today on a Sunday, if you weren't running to church, if you wanted to meet somebody to fix a socket or plaster your wall or whatever,
You went to Jeff's?
the pub. So these pubs are more than pubs. They're hubs. They're where people meet, communicate, share stories, share events, do all sorts of things. My own personal story with this pub is I first started coming here in the early 80s. When nobody was employed and we were all unemployed, lame, eager. No, who else is in here? Crofty's not here today. So the only drinking you could afford to do was tins of Breaker or Old English cider down the shorefront. Up here for 11 o'clock for, yeah, you had enough money for 1 pint. Liam, what was a pint then? 65 beers. Anyway, that's when we all started coming in here as teenagers, 17, 18, 19. But many, many years later, after living away for many, many years and coming home and getting divorced and blah, 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 I always harboured a bit of a desire to sing. And a few local lads that I knew from my youth that I kind of re-engaged with that played guitars and stuff, they were kind of like, Yank, fucking sing with us. Everybody knows you can sing, but I never had the courage to do it when I was 18, 19, 20, 21. I'm now 35. So anyway.
That's the new 20!
This is now 35.
How many drinks have you
25
had?
years ago.
How many of those pints?
I'm sick.
Cut him off at the bar. Cut him off. He's not too much.
So anyway, I've eventually mustered up the courage to put one of these in my hand and under my alter ego, Axel Spreadsheet. But like Ziggy Stardust.
That deserves it.
I stood in here in front of Chris Small, Davy Armstrong, a few other local lads, and we played cover tunes of rock music and stuff. And everybody loved it, and I was like, holy fuck, I can sing a bit. That's 25 years ago. I've now sang in the Marine and other local pubs with 3 Q-ins here, Barry's here, the band I'm currently with, the Hillbilly Biltong Band.
Yeah! More!
And like we do like the Christmas party here, the Halloween party here. Here, they're great nights, aren't they? Yeah.
More to come!
Just the wealth of talent in this town, poetry, music, arts, everything. It is astonishing. You used to roll into Whitehead in the train, and what used to be sprayed on the wall? Welcome to Hipsville. And I probably shouldn't say this word, but I'm going to say it. It's the only time when you're going to a bar, you'll have barristers, paramilitaries, hippies, bikers, rockers, more,
Yes!
all shooting the shit at the bar, and they all leave whatever shit floats their boat at the door. And that, to me, typifies the Marine and everything we all do in this pub. And I think Johnny and Michelle, I don't know the full story about the legalities of everything, but I think your desire to keep here open and run it, and what I see you've done to it, like, isn't that amazing?
Yep. Andrew Campbell did that, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew's here somewhere. This place should never close. Never close. Big Norman, what he does with music. Billy Anthony, the unsung hero.
Yes! Billy!
It's just man, this place can't close. It's too fucking good.
It's not going to close. Power to the people. Power to the people.
Before you start, I know everyone here has kind of offered condolences and stuff to you, and just how important your dad been the spearhead of this. And he is sorely missed by everybody, and we all hope that you and your mother and everybody are doing okay.
Sorry, can I say something about your daddy? Come in here to remember Paul. There was a young girl got up and sang, and she said, I wish I'd have done this sooner. Paul always encouraged me to stand up here and do this. And it reminded me of me 25 years ago. Just have the courage to do it. And it was lovely that she remembered your daddy that encouraged her to get up here and sing.
First of all, from me and Mum and Grace, there's 3 generations of us here today. And I want to say thank you to the Marine family for the support we've had. This is tough, sorry. You all know that you meant the world to my dad. And sometimes you meant as much to him as me and Mum. You really did. You were his family. So thank you. And I know you all felt it as hard as we did. But the thing that I've realised about the Marine over the last month is that it feels like home.
It is home.
And I'm sure I'm not the only person who has been here in tough times and who has felt that embrace as soon as you walk through the door.
Yes.
Yesterday was the first time that Mum and I came in since Dad's wake was held here. And we came in to watch the rugby, and it was really nice and quiet, and the fire was lit, and I walked up to the bar to order a drink, and it was just, it felt like the bar hugged me. It felt like home. Our family has a long connection with the Marine. Jackie talked about my Uncle Donald playing cribbage and playing darts. Uncle Donald bought a dartboard. He brought the first dartboard in here that had numbers on it. And he would very carefully make sure he took it off the wall and took it home with him at the end of the night. So nothing happened to it. Even further back than that, how many of you know that Paul and Kathy got engaged at the front door of the Marine?
No.
Paul, as Kathy put her hand on the handle of the door to open the door, went, by the way, I've told my mum we're getting married next spring. To which Kathy most romantically replied, well, you better get back up the 𝙁𝙪𝙡 road and tell mine. And the rest is history. Mark here and other people here that are the same age as me, we were here for my 18th, far too many pints ago. But my 18th birthday, when it came round, there was nowhere else. Had to be the Marine. Had to be. And now Mark's standing beside my daughter who's just turned 18. And this is where she wants to come with her friends.
Brilliant.
This is her local and this is her family, and she's making friends with people in here that I don't know. This place is a family and it's a home to all of us. We've all been here for... My dad came down here to wet all the babies' heads when they were born. We came here to celebrate engagements. We came here to celebrate marriages. We've drowned our sorrows when we've had bad breakups. Whenever things have gone wrong, you go to the Marine for a pint and the world's okay again. And I think it's really important that that feeling of home and support and security stays at the heart of this community.
100%.
And we've always regretted the fact that the Mill Bay was demolished. It was a hub for 𝙁𝙪𝙡𝙈. The Marine here isn't just a pub for me. For me, I grew up watching a programme called Cheers, which I'm sure a lot of you all watched it, and I always thought to myself, I want somewhere like that, somewhere that everybody knows my name. I can walk in here without Norman. Sorry, love. But and it won't matter because somebody will always open up a chair for me at the table, and that's that's
She
what
wants your step, boy. She wants your step.
that's what I love about the Marine. Like, I can come down here anytime and always feel like I'm gonna have somebody to sit with. I also love the fact that it encourages young people. You know, you mentioned about Robin getting up and singing. We want all the young people to get up. You know, Daryl's wee lads got up and sang. You know, there's other young people who've got up and sang, and they're encouraged. You know, the bar is open for them to come in, not only to take part, but also to see live music, because a lot of young people don't get to see live music. I bring my own kids down here anytime there's free burgers and stuff on the go. So it's hard to feed 4 of them, you know, we never knew when to stop. But, you know, I do love the Marine. It's not only that, I do think, you know, a lot of people have talked about what the Marine is, but Whitehead in general is about community. A lot of people who come to Whitehead, they say, oh, I've never met somewhere like this. They all get together and they do their festival and everything, and everybody pitches in. Well, we do. And, you know, the businesses support each other, and there's room for everybody. But the Marine absolutely has a unique offering.
Don't forget the Australians.
It's not generic music. It is not generic anything. It's, as you said, everybody comes in here. It's creativity. It's open to everybody.
Don't forget 𝙗𝙪𝙗.
Basically, you know, the Marine, there's nothing else like it. And for me, it's, you know, it's a unique offering that it gives to Whitehead.
𝙗𝙪𝙗 and Judy.
Thank you very much, thank you. Hey, what the hell is wrong with you people? Okay, so I'm going to open the floor for people to come up and make a point now. What I want you to remember is this is discourse. I mean, we can't get too hot-headed about it, and let's try and avoid anything that can be construed as slanderous, okay? Nope. And everything is, who wants to come up? Come you up. What I want to put across as well is, which is something I've reflected on about the Marine Bar and about Whitehead. In that, like, I've been kind of DJing and promoting stuff for the last 25 years.
Hey! Order!
What's happening in Belfast is there are major promoters who are squeezing out other people and making the whole scene homogenous. We all see it. The DJs who come here, that's why we love playing here, because we're not part of the system up there. Now, when you see a venue close, when you see a bar close, that's limiting your choice. You should have a choice of where you want to go. There is room for everybody, and that basically, when a bar closes, that's taken away your choice. And don't forget that. We can be passionate about it, but also we've got to be pragmatic. Don't let anyone take your choice.
Can I talk about 𝙗𝙪𝙗? No! Somebody else is talking.
Hello, folks. Big thank you for my scriptwriter, Lauren, who put this piece together for me. Without her,
Guys!
and here
Come
as a
on!
little person, who's been part of this community my whole life. And for me, the Marine isn't just a pub. It's part of Whitehead's social fabric. I still remember the first pint I ever bought for myself. I was just 16 years old when I snooped under the radar past James and Molly. To all of you guys surprised, I'm sure, that was almost 50 years ago. And of course it was in the Marine. Since then life has changed, people have come and gone, but the Mariners remain constant. Very few places in a town can say they've been part of someone's life for half a century. Over the years, it has always been somewhere they could go, whether with friends, with family, or even on my own, and that's important. You never sit alone for long in the Marine. There's always someone to talk to, always a friendly atmosphere, always a bloody good pint of the black stuff. It's a place where people look out for each other, where conversations happen naturally, and where loneliness quietly disappears for a while. Now, all these years later, my own children come here too. They meet their friends here, and sometimes they even call in for a drink with me. As a parent, that's real reassurance in knowing where they are, somewhere familiar, somewhere safe, somewhere run by people who know the community and look after those inside it. That kind of place is becoming rare, and it matters more than we often realise. In recent years especially, the Marine hasn't stood still. It has evolved. The music scene has taken root here. Open mic Saturdays, quiz nights, local bands, local singers, even artisan bazaars. Younger faces now next to the older regulars. It's not fading away. It's adapting and growing and giving people somewhere safe and positive to gather. We've already lost important places in our community, including the well-known 𝙁𝙪𝙡 Inn. The people here from 𝙁𝙪𝙗, like myself, it's already been mentioned, will know each time somewhere like that closes, the community becomes a little quieter, a little more disconnected, and more people feeling a larger sense of isolation. To lose another gathering place at the Marine wouldn't just mean losing a pub, it would mean losing a meeting point, a support network and a shared space for generations. All you have to do is spend a couple of hours in here to see what makes it special. Young and old, locals and newcomers, musicians and workers, people who would never normally cross paths, sitting together in harmony. That's increasingly rare and something worth protecting. So I respectfully ask that the licence be granted and the Marine allowed to continue doing what it has done for decades, bringing people together. Because once places like this are gone, they don't come back.
Okay, so I'm going to leave you with this. You all have a voice here, okay? You all have a voice and you have a choice. I'm a poet, I didn't know it, right? You've got a voice and a choice here and you have to exercise it or it will be taken from you. That's an important thing globally. If you don't speak up, someone will do it for you and take your voice from you and take your choices from you. So we have to keep up the pressure here to keep this wonderful thing going because they don't come back when they go. I've seen some of my favourite bars, the Rotterdam in Belfast. Anyone's ever been to the Rotterdam?
I was, yes.
And the tragedy, why that occurred was one person, one resident in an apartment block that was put up beside it. Who somebody thought that living beside a bar wouldn't be noisy. Well done. But they got that place closed. Pat's Bar was closed, Auntie Annie's on Dublin Road was closed. I saw some amazing acts there in the Rotterdam, everything. When places like this go, they don't come back. They're taken from you. And I want to stress that. You won't lose this place. It will. Pardon? Exactly. What I'm saying is you won't lose it. It is taken from you. And we're seeing this around the world. And we're seeing the results of this. And none of them are positive. Don't let this place be taken from you.
The Australians want this bar to stay open. 𝙗𝙪𝙗.
Well, you know, support Johnny and Michelle and what they need. Johnny, do you want to come up? What do you think you need here?
Are you in this corner?
Johnny and Michelle could develop here and put a lot of money in their pocket by making this into seafront desirable apartments. And the fact they want to keep running a pub, which isn't an easy station in 2026, is fantastic. And I think we should all get behind them. And Johnny, long may you want to run here, because we love it. We love the Marine.
Actually, one of the jobs I was going to do was lower the ceiling in here, but I discovered after looking at a couple of photographs of you that I have tried to solve the problem with the two objectors. We have met them. We have tried to work through this. We are not here to fight. I think there's 3,800 people live in this town, village, whatever you want to just call it.
Town.
Ramshack.
Town.
We have gone and we have tried to work it out. So I'm not here to tell you what you can do. I am telling you what we are going to do, right? But at this moment in time, the objectors against what we're trying to do here aren't listening to you guys. It's up to you to sort out how you get that message across to them. Michelle and I will continue to do what we're trying to do here, and we'll try and work through that. But at some point, we will come to the end of the road here. The most frequent question I've been asked over the last while is this real? Is this threat real? It is very real, guys. And time will kill us here. But time is also our friend.
Johnny, tell us what the legal objection is. Like, what's the actual legal thing that we're fighting against?
The legal objection, the license that belongs to the Marine has to move. There's no, unless the guys in the Whitecliff turn around and say, right, we're going to forget about the contract, at that stage the Marine license could stay. But at this moment in time, we signed an agreement to shift that license.
All about your legal contract with the
yes.
objector, right?
Where the argument is at the minute is that our barrister says there's no part of that contract can stop us putting a license in here. They're saying it can, so that'll have to be sorted out in court, right? But it's them that's pushing that, okay? This is the reason that you've got to understand this here, guys. This is the reason why we bought the building at the rear here, because it doesn't form part of a contract.
I think the point is that, like, what can we actually do that's going to make a difference? Because if it's a legal thing...
Right, in very clear terms, time is our friend. Every pound that goes into an alternative business funds what they're trying to do. Can I make it any clearer than that? And Michelle and I have worked bloody hard to not come to this point. Right? But that's the bottom line.
I think the point is that, like, a public meeting like this is amazing.
Yes.
It's all sentiment. What can we actually do that's going to make a difference?
Don't go to the White Cliff!
Just told you.
Neither of us can tell you not to go or go somewhere else. Like I'm trying to say to you, exercise your choice. Exercise your choice. While you still have it. So after a while you might not. That's all. Anybody else any questions?
Sorry!
Unfortunately, the judge will look at the legal facts in front of him, and as much as he will understand that sentiment, he can't make a decision on that basis. Here's at some point, the business idea will be, right, well then we'll just put the license application into the building at the rear here. But all this disappears then.
Doesn't, because you own it, just knock through.
It's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as that. So the license won't allow that.
But no, can you not, sorry, if you've got a new license, can you not stipulate what that license is for? And it could be for a music club in that room there with bar attachment, which is huge.
Yes. Sorry, what's your name?
Hillary.
Hillary, Hillary, I've heard of it, you actually. Hillary.
Everybody's heard about Hillary.
The problem is, that's what the argument's about. And you see, once you start getting into these arguments, and all these guys appear in the big wigs and all the rest, and all they're looking for is pound notes. In fact, it's not pound notes, it's hundreds of pound notes.
It's thousands.
I live in 𝙁𝙪𝙡𝙈, we lost the Millbay Inn, and that hurt a lot. Yeah. We had no input or any we didn't get a chance to support the Millbay Inn. This is our chance to dig our toes in
100%.
here. Absolutely here, because I mean I lived here all my life, and I agree with the sentiments. You can come in here on your own and feel completely safe. We used to get off the train and get a lift home, and you always felt warm and dry in here, and you never came to any harm in here.
Sorry, what's the penalty for breaking the contract?
You've got to look for old law. Look for old law to fight their case on monopoly situation.
Hillary, believe you me, we have gone, Michelle and I have done 6 months of this to get to this stage.
But
We have.
If you get a young junior barrister who's keen as mustard, they're better than you.
We have a young junior barrister. That's what we have. This is a real monopoly. The statement that was made to me in one of my negotiations recently was, and this is going to really piss you guys off, we don't care about the people of Whitehead.
I know that.
Don't go to the White Cliff!
You're not their customers, guys. That's what we were told. October 28th, is it? 27th, sorry, October 27th. No, probably not.
Can you change the license there, guys?
Sorry, just so there's no confusion, guys, and please, if you don't get your questions answered today, you'll get my mobile number and Michelle's mobile in behind that bar. You'll come ring us at any stage. Well, It's only at fucking 11 o'clock at night.
4 in the morning.
Can we get a carry out? Hello? Hello?
But sorry, just to answer your question, just for the avoidance of confusion here, the marine license is a license that we contractually have to move up to the station, which we, again, are in the penal working through, right? So we'll call that marine license. The license that we bought is a new license we're trying to put in here. And that's what we're talking about here today. We don't want you to get involved in our off-license application. That's nothing to do with you guys. It's our argument. We've never come to, we've always been up front, we've never come to you and did it. Unfortunately, the agreement we signed, for the reasons which we've explained, that's what that contract is. But the whole intention was that this was going to close down from the people that sold us. That's what they're after. Even though they've said it's not their custom, they're not their custom. We do a different thing here. Like the whole thing, it's the same as like, you know, what's next, guys? Are they going to attack the rowing club? They're going to attack the golf club? Yeah. What else are they going to close?
Yo!
Well, come in, we'll close the place down. Like, you can't operate without a license. You can't operate without a license.
So we signed a contract to say within 3 years the marine license. Like I told you before, we did not buy a pub, we bought a license. So we signed that contract, so that has to be fulfilled no matter what.
The contract's not with the council, the contract is with the objective.
Yes.
Yes, that's why the license will probably be granted, but they will go through the High Court and issue us a writ on a contractual basis, which will negate that. The judge has to look at, there's about 7 grounds of objections. Whether we're not fit to run a company, the property doesn't support the license is bad, all these things. There's none of those that we believe, we're fairly certain on this here, that they can get round. It's a contractual bit of it. And our argument is the contract was to transfer the license, not to close the pub. And they're saying, no, it was to close the pub. Now, guys, don't forget, there's 2 objections here.
Yep.
There's 2 saying the same thing.
We are many. Don't go to the store.
Brian, keep quiet, please. Yes?
Was it true that one of the objectors, you got it sorted out, you were able to talk to him?
Yes, and then he accused me of lying in front of my son, and I'm not prepared to deal with him any longer.
Walker. Sorry. Not you!
Is there a plan B if the school takes up?
Yes, we open a bar in that house at the back.
Yes.
It's a plan B. No, sorry, the reason why I was saying that is that's Michelle and I then, guys, you have got to understand this. Whenever we bought this here, we were buying a license, we were working on like a year, 2 years, back out again, and we would move on. That's what we came in here, and we've never told anybody any different, despite the fact that people are saying we haven't told the full truth. That is the full truth, and I think the guys that know us in here have always heard that story. Then we went, whenever we spoke with our barrister and said, listen, Michelle said, well, could we not buy our license? And he said, well, yes, you probably could. And they talk about the flavour of an agreement. This is what the legal terms. A couple of weeks later, we didn't tell our barrister, but we bought this house at the rear. And the reason why it doesn't form part of any contract, right? So we've now a pub which is open 7 days a week, which we have done monthly management accounts on to prove that it can work. So we have established a need for a second license, and we could put the pub in there. But because of the licensing laws, we can't work out of here. Now, in our negotiations, I've gone to one of the objectors and said, I'll open a restaurant in here then.
Yeah!
But guys, listen, this is not the route that Michelle and I want to go down. We are not fighters. We are lovers. But I talk about, I've spoken to Paul Cole about this numerous times, I talk about the marine magic. There's something fucking magical about the marine bar. There's something magical about Whitehead. You guys we don't live here. You don't understand it, but you don't understand it.
We do.
It's amazing, so it is. It's an amazing place.
And as well as that, the way you guys have welcomed us, honestly.
When are you moving?
When you find us a bloody house.
That's a great idea! No, we do love it. Like we tell everybody, we're very, very proud.
We have friends sitting down that far under that TV over there. Guys that I went to school with, who are down here to support us today.
From 𝙗𝙪𝙗.
Yeah!
There's another
himself, and he's from Armagh.
Oh, we're not going to clap.
He's actually not that bad.
He's from Armagh, of course he's bad.
Well, I'm delighted he's here.
Yes.
Right, we have a strategy we're going to do, which is a follow-up to this, which I've spoken to all of you about as well. We do have a media strategy following. We wanted to have this meeting first because...
Right, Joe, media strategy. This man here played guitar with Joe Dolan.
one of the greats. Mr. Dolan, one of the greats.
He's still wearing his knickers.
But we wanted to have this meeting because this is a grassroots issue at this point. And we didn't want to put anything together that would basically go outside of the town without involving the town first. There is a media strategy. Just watch this space, sir. We'll be on it, don't you worry. We're on.
Took part in this today was because we want to know, are we fighting this on our own?
No! No!
Good.
Up the revolution! The Australians are with you. They spent 4 months here in this bar. Came in here for 2 weeks and spent 4 months.
Is this like a history thing or something?
No, I'll tell you later on.
So guys, my understanding from this today is that really we need to get the 2 objectors to drop their objections. Ultimately, like you talk about this going down the road, but Johnny and Michelle are paying for this. They're paying to be in court to fight this for us, because ultimately this is what we want. We want this pub and these other 2 businesses. I talk about Whitehead community and supporting the businesses. I believe that. I believe we all need to support each other, and we all go, there's enough to go around. But if it comes to the point where somebody says we don't care about your community, then we have to make our voices heard.
Here, here,
and these
here.
guys need to drop their objections.
Can the community help with that?
Is there funding?
Yes.
No, to be truthful, that's not where the help needs to come from, because the way it can be played, you know, and the arrogance of that. I hate solicitors and hate barristers.
Me too.
And unfortunately, I've had to walk down this road several times, and nobody wins out of it. Sooner or later, the only way that at this moment in time, like we have stretched out, we have really, and there's some members of the crowd that are here who have helped us to do this and be party to it. And to tell you the truth, I wanted them party to it because I wanted them to see exactly what we were dealing with. So, if you're not getting revenue through your door, you can't exist. That's the bottom line here, you know. I just want to say something. There's a very good friend of mine. He probably won't want me to mention his name, but he is this saying: we don't need a doctor in Whitehead, we just need the Marine Bar.
Yes.
If you look at the far side of the bar, you'll probably see him smiling now.
Okay, have any more questions or anything? Or, I think the only thing left, as Johnny said, it's down to you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, that was sort of the first test of the water for us. So in the agreement, we were only licensed to sell the same beers as our friends across the road were. And the reason why that was, we were tied into it, which was now found that they raised finance off the back of that. So whenever they changed, we changed, but they sent us a barrister's letter. But they never took it any further.
Send them back to Lord.
But guys, Joe made a statement here. And they see in the world we live, like I listened to a podcast the other day about AI, and I came home to Michelle and I goes, fuck it, let's just close the gates here and we'll just live on our own, because it's not. Your choices in the world that we live in are all being diminished. Right? You guys should be fit, and this town is big enough to support this here. You guys have choices. But please do not come to us in another year and a half time and say, wish you had got behind you, because now we realise what's happened. You've heard the story about @McGee, you've heard the story about the pub down there. We live in a village that there were 2 pubs and a hotel, and there's nothing in it now. Yeah. You've no idea how like all you need to do is come into this pub in the summertime. Do you see the amount of tourists? I sat out in that, and what do you think of a beer garden, by the way? I did that and didn't even tell Michelle about it.
It's not
You told me to pick colours for the bar.
But I sat out in that beer garden one day, and there was Americans on one table, there was French on another table, and there was Spanish on a third table.
You get stoned when you go out there.
90s of the from the bar side, and you're not going to believe it. It was Joe Dolan, good-looking woman.
You know, businesses do better when everybody works together, you know, and it's trying to get that message that we are not looking at war. And it's trying to get that message through to the objectors. You know, we have to work together, everybody will benefit, and trying to close an establishment isn't doing anybody any favours. So it's up to you guys to change their mind.
It's up to you. That's a simple message. It's up to you. Thank you again on behalf of Johnny and Michelle and everybody for coming along today. Your support is appreciated. Your continued support will be even more appreciated. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
Viva! Viva la Marine!
Here anyway.